Good morning YouTubes, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you happen to be in this world of ours. And welcome to another episode of RSing About. Now today, I'm going to give you a bit of a what do we call it, a recap of my recent trip to Wales on the trusty, less rusty thing of beauty that is the 250 RS. My lovely little Honda single. Now the reason being is I did put a video up on YouTube and it was unedited. Every clip that I just pressed start, press stop, everything that I pressed start and stop for, alright, over the bumps, I joined together and posted. Reason being is because you know me, I don't edit stuff. It is as it is, and it's like a little video diary of the trip, sort of the good times and the times when I was a bit sort of well, fed up's the wrong word, because I was obviously on a trip with my mates. But there was one day where the roads just weren't great. We just stuck on main roads because there was no other road but main roads between two places really. But anyway, very quick, I'll tell you about the bike first of all. 250 RS performed faultlessly, absolutely beautifully, although the speedo drive in the head did squeak, so that needed a little squirt of WD-40, which obviously I had in the trusty top box, which you might better see there. I didn't take the panniers, I took some soft luggage which I just threw over and bungeed on, if you like, because the crowds of panniers, although they do look pretty epic, just a bit too big for the trip. 916 miles door to door. Longest day I did was 320 miles in one hit, and that was home from Wales on the last day. Only because we left early. We left Wales early. I was going to stay in Worcestershire the night for that night, but we were there by lunchtime. So I thought, well, do you know what? I might as well head back. It gives me an extra day at home before I go back to work to clean the bike and sort my stuff out. So yeah, 916 miles, 2 chain adjustments because the chain was a bit fucked to be fair. It was a cheapy chain, and yeah, it was horrible. So I now have a lovely DID X-Ring Gold Link. You won't be able to see it, but it's down there. But other than that, yeah, average between 78 and 92 miles to the gallon. 78 was on the motorways, blasting to Worcestershire and back. The rest of it was all on the LA roads, you know, up and down. There were some hills, so there was a bit of throttle involved, and obviously there were times when the roads were quite twisty, so the little RS did get a bit of stick. As much stick as you can give a 250 single with 26 horsepower. But yeah, other than that, it was faultless. What a bit of kit, eh? Absolutely beautiful. So trip wise, so day one for me was obviously packing the bike up and heading to my mate Simon's in Worcestershire. Straight down the motorway, very straightforward. Apart from the fact it pissed down all day, that was a bit grim. The bike was lovely and clean and it pissed down. So there you go, not much you can do about that. Spent the night there. He cooked a lovely curry, had a couple of beers. Following day we had a lovely, he selected quite a nice little route where we wazzed it down some little country lanes, and obviously I was trying to keep the speed up because he was on his ZX7R Kawasaki, which was certainly by far the biggest bike on the trip. John, who we also met, which I'll come to, he was on the R350. So you can imagine 2 little singles and a ZX7R, you know, 1990 sports bike. But he loves that bike, and although I offered the use of my spare RS, he wanted to ride his because, as he says, he doesn't get enough chance to ride it. So perfect trip for it. So the following day, yeah, we had a lovely little ride. The only thing I would say, Tom Go Ride, brilliant app. I'm using it again today. Look at that water. It's not good, is it? Brilliant app, but we set I set a waypoint in the first sort of major town we got to, and I just put the town in on the search. There's a bit of a divot there. Put the town on the search. Well, obviously we didn't go through that waypoint, so after a little while I glanced down, the sat nav was kept telling me to turn round. It was getting a bit frustrating, confusing, and couldn't work out what was going on. And Simon was sort of like, where are we going? Because obviously he knew the area. And it then occurred to me that we hadn't gone through the waypoint, so I had to delete it, put a new route in, and bingo, we were on our way. So that was fine. First night was in where were we? Chainbridge. It was the Chainbridge Hotel in Llandudno, excuse the pronunciation, which is a great little hotel, and it's so named because there is a bridge made of chains. Now I don't know what came first, the chain bridge or the Chainbridge Hotel. A bit like the chicken and the egg, no idea. But I made some stickers for this trip. You might have seen there's a couple of the top boxes, and there was a notice board saying that the chain bridge had been been renovated in the 80s, and we stuck one of our stickers sort of discreetly in the corner of the I'll show you the sticker, discreetly in the corner of the signboard that said it had been renovated. There you go, can you see that? 40th tour, 84 to 2004, me, John, Simon, the lovely 7R. Yeah, we stuck one of those on the corner of the notice board, and we were absolutely in fits of laughter, because it made it look like we were the engineers that had renovated the chain bridge, and we were coming back after 40 years. Yeah, it was hysterical. But Chainbridge Hotel, yeah, it was alright. Yeah, I think like a lot of hotels, they've had a bit of a tough time with COVID and what have you, so it's tight in places, but the staff were great, food was good, no complaints at all really. It was decent, and that's where we met John rode down from Cumbria. He spent all day coming down on his bike, taking the little tiny twisty roads rather than the motorway. So we met up with him at the hotel on his DR, had a few beers, a bit of food, a few laughs and a catch up. And obviously the following day we then headed to Llandudno, however you want to pronounce it. Some pretty good roads. Yeah, it was alright. I should say, Chainbridge Hotel, myself and Simon, we stopped at the Ponderosa cafe on the way, which is on the Horseshoe Pass, which is just outside Llandudno. Really disappointed in the Ponderosa. The place that's sort of like motorcycle, not folklore, but everyone knows, the Ponderosa, Loomis, the 1066, which I'm heading to now, the Ace Cafe, certainly those sort of places down this way, south of England, everyone knows them. And I'd heard of the Ponderosa because it is a biker's cafe. Yeah, it's just sort of like a modern building stuck on the top of a sort of a hill. Staff were a bit grumpy. We sat down in a set of empty seats and got told to move because they were out of bounds or whatever. So it was just, a bit of a letdown. I'm sure in the summer when there's loads of bikes, a bit of atmosphere, it's great, but on an overcast day when it's a little bit chilly and there were, half a dozen bikes, give it a bit of a swerve. I'm not sure I'd go back there. Same with the Horseshoe Pass, to be fair. It's a 40-mile-an-hour limit. Even on the trusty less rusty, you couldn't really chuck it around the bends. It was a bit disappointing. This is a better bend than on the whole Horseshoe Pass. These couple of bends, and this is just a little link road that cuts the corner of the main road off. Anyway, ran over. Llandudno, not a bad little hotel right on the seafront. The Central Hotel. Didn't have a restaurant, so we ate in town. We ate at the Blue Elephant Curry House. Very nice. Yeah, good food. Vegan selections if anybody is vegan. So that was alright. We did do a walk along the pier, Llandudno Pier, Llandudno. And it's a bit of a, it's a old seaside resort, I guess. Bit run down in places. I suspect they were, they were a long way past their heyday for seaside resorts. Obviously we added a sticker or two or three in certain places, which gave us a chuckle. But we walked to the end of the pier. Now if anyone has walked to the end of Llandudno Pier, The whole pier is lined with memorial benches, brown memorial benches the whole way. It's weird, honestly. Never seen anything like it. I'm guessing people pay to put a bench there, and it must be a nice way of, you know, remembering your relatives if that was your happy place. But it was a little bit weird. There were fucking hundreds of them, but there was one that just saved the day. And there's this one single bench, and I just glanced down and saw the little engraved plaque on the bench, and it just said, "Keep your coat on, Scylla, we're not stopping." And it was like with love from whatever family, and it was just absolute classic, fucking brilliant. So we all had a good chuckle at that. Whoever wrote that, you won't be watching this video, but I would just like to say, spot on, lovely, yeah. So anyway, had a beer at the end of the pier, and then walked into town to have a curry at the Blue Elephant, which is by the big roundabout, and it's above, I think it's a furniture shop. If you go there, yeah, well worth it. And then from there, the following day, we then rode to Aberystwyth. Now this was a day, I wouldn't say I had a downer, but the roads were, it was a bit like this road, to be fair, with better scenery. We were in traffic. I mean, the scenery was great, don't get me wrong. We were in traffic, and there was a choice of two roads, and we did a little bit of both. There was a coast road, and there was, like, we call it sort of the mountain road or the hill road, and we did a little bit of both. And it just wasn't great, you know. And we were just sat at sort of like 50 mile an hour on A roads, but there was only two roads between them. We did have a lot of choice, so that was a bit sort of disappointing. But Aberystwyth, yeah, that was a good night. We stayed at the what was the hotel called? 21st Century? I think it was the 21st Century. And we went to check in. Oh, first of all, we went to the wrong place because I mishit my keypad. I put the sat-nav in, and I was the last letter in the postcode was wrong, so it took us to a weird campsite just out of town. But as we got there, there were literally 20 or 30 monkey bikes coming the other way, all in fluorescent green shirts, which gave us a bit of a chuckle and cheered us up. And I say cheered us up, it's probably the wrong thing to say, but made us smile. So anyway, we turned around, go back to the hotel. As we put into the car park at the back, it is rammed with monkey bikes, and it doesn't take too long to work out they all stayed at our hotel. So we started unloading the bikes to get ready. John wanted to have a fiddle with his car because his bike was running really rich, and it was running really rich. If ever you followed an old MG midget or something with a choke on, that's what it smelled like, for those of you that remember that. So he wanted just to have a little play with the carb settings, so he started doing that, and after a little while I thought I'll go in and check in. So I wandered in and saw the staff, and they said, oh, slight problem, we've had to move you to another building. And I guess it was because the monkey bike guys all need to stay in the same place, which is fair enough. So I sort of went, I'm not really happy about that, because on a bike, as you know, you've got all your luggage, you've got your helmet, you don't really want to be parking and walking. So she said, oh no, it's got its own car park, so we'll go there. So I said, well, how far is it? She said, oh, it's about 100 yards. And she collared this older lady to take me down and have a look at it. And I sort of said, look, if it's no good, can you find us somewhere, you know, in the main building? She said, well, I'll do my best, but obviously it didn't look promising. So I'm wondering, I've just got my helmet, I've said to the other guys, like, I'm going to go check this place out. So I'm wandering along, and she's going, honestly, it's lovely, you'll love it, it's really nice, blah blah blah. And I was sort of, well, you know, I'm not really happy about this, because obviously we want to be in the main building. And she was, no, I promise you. Anyway, we get to this detached house, and it literally was 100 yards away, and there was, as she said, there was a car park behind it. We walk in through the main door, which was a fob operated door, to this massive hallway with a fucking great wooden staircase. It just went up to the second floor, or the first floor, whichever way you want to count it. Got fly inside my helmet, bugger off. And she then unlocks this door and takes us into what is then a very modern, very nice, I would live there, 3-bedroom apartment that looked like it had just been recently decorated to a very high standard. One room was en suite. You had a living room with a kitchen area, with a like a dining area. It was bloody lovely. It really was nice. So 3 double bedrooms. So I had a quick look and went, oh yeah. I said, is this the same price? And she said, yeah, same price. I said, still with breakfast? Yep, still with breakfast. I went, yeah, we'll have it, thanks very much. I said, you weren't wrong. So I did say to her, I'm sorry for being a bit grumpy. Obviously, when you book somewhere, that's where you expect to stay. And she was, oh no, that's absolutely fine, but I knew you'd love it. So obviously I blagged the double bedroom with the ensuite bathroom, as you do. Went to the other lad that, walked back and said, yeah, it's spot on. I said, well, I think I didn't tell him. I said you won't be disappointed. But obviously it did mean chucking some luggage on some of the bikes, or I carried some luggage. John finished putting his bike back together, and round we went, locked all the bikes up, and yeah, everyone was very happy. It was get on the right side of the road. Jesus Christ! It was cracking. I can't remember if it was John or Simon, but one of the lads on I think a Google search found a bar in the town which did real ales, because they love a bit of their real ale. I'm not bothered about it, but happy to go to the pub. And they had music that night, and it was a Welsh bluegrass band. Now, if you don't know bluegrass, it's sort of like banjos and all that sort of stuff. Not my kind of music, if I'm completely honest. But when you're in a pub, if it's live music, it doesn't really matter, because by the time you've had a couple of beers, you tap your toe to anything, won't you? Well, I'll say anything, most things. They weren't wrong saying that there's a skid risk, because there's piles of gravel in the centre of the road. Not good. So we rock up to this place. It was called the Bank Bowl. If you're in Aberystwyth, the Bank Bowl, highly recommended. They have an iPad on the bar, and the iPad has descriptions of the beer with a number. So you go, I'll have a pint of number 1 and a pint of number 3 or whatever. So John and Simon obviously had a good look at that. And I said to the guy, look, I'm sorry mate, I'm a bit of a heathen, I just like my fizzy cider, And he said, yeah, not a problem, you want a number 11? I'll have a pint of number 11 then. Oh, it was lovely, absolutely banging. So yeah, we had a few beers, should we say, and went back to the hotel. John picking up a kebab on the way, and the following morning I got up. I can't remember what the time was. I got up, Simon's in the living room, knocked on John's door, getting sort of an answer. John, you coming to breakfast? No, I think I'll stay here. It soon transpired that John wasn't feeling very well. John had a chat with the big white telephone during the night. We all know what that means, don't we? Yeah, he'd had a bit of a chat with the big white telephone. He wasn't feeling his best, shall we say. So we went and got breakfast in the main hotel, which was perfectly good. All the monkey bike guys were there. Some a little bit worse for wear. We saw one in the kebab house the night before. It was quite evident he was not going to be at breakfast the following morning, and lo and behold, yeah, we didn't see him either. Are you going? Go on mate. Yeah, you go. I'm not in any rush. It was quite evident that we weren't going to see him. Yeah, he wasn't there. I bet he was feeling a bit sore. But yeah, good place. So anyway, once John was feeling a bit more himself, a couple of coffees and that, off we headed for a more sedate ride to our last night, should we say, which was the Raven Inn, and I can't even begin to think where it was or pronounce where it was. Mid Wales. It was west of Wrexham. So if you Google the Raven Inn community pub opposite a church with a little village shop, little village community shop, then you'll find it. Big white place with a little marquee out the front, car park and what have you. and that was great. We booked in. They said, what time do you want dinner? So we had a meal there, which was very nice. I think I had a Moroccan couscous dish, which was lovely. We had a couple of beers, but after the night before, everyone was just feeling a little bit tired, and didn't want to drink an awful lot. Funny old world, eh? So we ended up having quite an early night, and as we got upstairs to bed, I think it was Simon said to one of the volunteers that runs the place, "Oh, what time is breakfast?" And black box fitted, blame my dad. What time's breakfast? And the lady goes, "Oh, it's a continental breakfast." And we said, yeah, but what time is it? She said, well, there is no time, it's in your room. Now, the day before when we arrived, myself and John had the double, Simon had the single, because obviously I'd had the ensuite the day before. So Simon and John flipped the ensuite for that night, and Simon won. When we got there, feeling a bit peckish, there was a Tupperware box with some croissants in, and I thought, that's nice, I'll have a couple of those. So I had a couple of croissants, very nice, thank you very much. Anyway, when the lady said, oh, there is no time for breakfast, it's in your room, John just turned around to me and went, you've already had yours. At which point there was much laughter, and I realised that I had in fact eaten my breakfast the day before. So yeah, that was a bit annoying, but Simon saved the day and went, have a couple of mine. So yeah, he gave me some of his breakfast for the following day, so that was all good. And then that was the last day, and obviously the following morning we got up after our continental breakfast. We let ourselves out the back door, because that's what you do, you leave the key in your door and you wander out the back, and we all set off home. That's where we split. So John carried on to the lakes. We split at Wrexham, so we headed east for a little while. Yeah, John headed back up to the lakes, and myself and Simon off to Worcestershire. It's a bit sad because obviously, you don't want a trip to end, and it was a good laugh. But we haven't got the luxury of tons of time off. But we were away by 8:30, 8:45 in the morning. So by the time we got back to Simon's place in Worcestershire, literally it was lunchtime. So we stopped at his other half's and had a cup of tea on the way, and then got back to his place. It's only like 5 minutes from his other half's house. And I'd said to him earlier, do you know what? Because it was so early, I thought, do you know what? I might actually ride the whole way home. So when we got back to his house, I'd already ordered a. Long story short, we pulled into a petrol station, and my USB charger, this is not this one, I might add, it started having smoke coming out of it. I went, ooh, as I'm sat next to a pump, that doesn't look good. So I pushed the bike forwards a little bit to cue more and more thick, dense smoke, and then flames. Only sort of 3-4 inches of flames, but obviously flip front helmet came into its own, flipped the front up, blew the flames out. I blew the flames out, pulled the side panel off, and ripped the battery lead, the power lead off of the battery, because obviously it shorted internally. So that was that done. Lesson learned, put a fuse in line, didn't bother. So I ordered a new one off of Amazon to be delivered to Simon, so I could charge the bike on the way home, and that was there when we got there. So yeah, fitted that, had a cuppa, had a natter, and then jumped on the bike and rode home. So it was another 200 miles from there, so it was 320 miles on the last day, and I was home by 6 o'clock that evening, I guess. So obviously it just made sense, it gave me an extra day at home. Where are we going here? We are following it, we're following it round to the left. So yeah, Wales. Would I go to Wales again? Now the answer to that is going to probably be no. Now either we rode the wrong roads, or Wales doesn't live up to its reputation. My biggest gripe about Wales was 20-mile-an-hour limits are fucking everywhere. You would get onto a 50-mile-an-hour sweepy little bends, and then bang, straight into a 20. You go through the 20, into another national, you know, a mile down the road, another 20. It was just so frustrating, it really was. And I know there's been a lot of complaints, and I have heard that they might be changing it, but yeah, not fantastic. But there you go, it is what it is. And I did have a bit of a rant on the video saying, you know, absolutely support 20-mile limits outside schools, hospitals, you know, old people's homes, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, 20, happy days. But when there's a village which, you know, normally would be a 40 and it's a 20, you know, as wide as this, it's like, come on. But anyway, yeah, that was it. But all in all, superb trip, you know, with my sort of best mates. Absolutely loved it. We're talking about the Isle of Man maybe next year. Simon's just waiting to see what he's doing with regards to festivals and stuff, because one that he normally goes to around the time of the Manx GP, which is what we'd be doing. It used to be called the Classics, now called the Manx, back to the Manx, to say. So he's waiting to find out if the guys he normally goes with on that are going to do something else, and if they are, then obviously he might well do that with them. But otherwise it could be the Manx. I'll probably take the RC, that's the thought. I'll take the RC. Simon's going to take his 7R, and John will probably take his Mike Hayward replica. So we'll have sort of 3 iconic bikes, sports bikes of their generation, I guess. Should be great. Anyway, this is a shorter version. I've probably waffled on for far too long, as I normally do. But anyway, as usual, YouTubes, if you're riding something like the trusty, less rusty thing of beauty that is the CB250RS, stay safe. If you're not riding, watch these crap videos on YouTube, because they really are dross, aren't they? Hey, this is dross. Any thoughts about Wales? Chuck them in the comments. If not, I will see you on the next adventures over the bumps on the thing of beauty that is my 1980 CB250RS. Let's just get past here first. Lovely. Right, take care everybody. See you soon. Cheers. Want to press the button?